What a headshot! What a head!
How's it, guys? This is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video, I'll be taking you through my Game Week 15 transfer plans. It's a very quick turnaround between Game Week 14 and Game Week 15. Please remember, the deadline for Game Week 15 is going to be tomorrow, so that's going to be Tuesday night. Now don't worry, the quick turnaround, the team is still looking pretty good, and as long as all our options start, I think it should be a good game week. Now as always in these transfer plans, I'll be giving you guys the rundown on how the previous game week went. Was Game Week 14 a good one or a bad one? Then I'll head into all that Game Week 15 goodness, the transfer plan and the team selection, but the transfer this week looks pretty set in stone. So if that's something you guys are interested in, sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. Now let's go over that Game Week 14 team review, and as you guys can see, once again, a very good game week, and we're now sitting at just below the 400k mark. So that green arrow was thanks to a nice 69 points scored in Game Week 14 with a game week rank of about 1 million. And that's going to take our overall points up to 853, and for the upcoming Game Week 15, I've one free transfer after using 2 in Game Week 14. So let me know how your game week went. Was it a good game week? Was it a bad game week? Did you guys get a green arrow, a red arrow? And where are you guys sitting in the overall ranks after Game Week 14? Now this week, the bench was not needed. If you guys remember last week, we got Archer off the bench, and luckily we didn't get him off the bench this week because he only scored 1 point. Now it was a very weird game week for Sheffield United, probably the biggest game week of the season against relegation rivals Burnley. They racked up a yellow card in the first half, and Archer was subbed at half time. So I think at halftime, Burnley were leading 2-0 or 3-0, so it was a little bit of a weird one taking your striker off when you needed a goal. But I think it just shows that Archer might not be in the good books of the Sheffield United manager. Now will that matter in the future? I don't exactly know. It looks like he's going to lose his job fairly shortly. So let's see if we have a new manager bounce next game week. Then Lascelles unfortunately not going to get his 6 points off the bench. Newcastle keeping a clean sheet against United. But I was probably going to bench him anyways this game week. Then we have Gay with only the 2 points after Crystal Palace's defense unfortunately is not looking that strong. And with some tough fixtures coming up, he might be a transfer out fairly shortly. Then as you guys can see, Strakosha on the bench, so you guys know who's between the sticks. It's Areola for his 2-point appearance. Once again, not keeping a clean sheet. Now there actually was a glimmer of hope for a West Ham clean sheet in this fixture. We got to the halftime whistle, halfway to the clean sheet, but then what happens a few minutes into the second half? But to be fair, it wasn't really Areola's fault, it was the West Ham defense passing it straight to Crystal Palace. So what could have been, we could have finally got our clean sheet, the first one we've got since we brought him in. But unfortunately, this trend of no clean sheets continues. Now, in terms of our back line, the clean sheet was also lost by Arsenal. It was a mistake by Zinchenko that cost Saliba and Gabriel their 6 points. But Saliba did rack up a yellow card as well. It's a little bit unfortunate there. If I do recall, I think Wolves scored in about the 86th minute. Thought that Arsenal clean sheet was locked in by that time. But unfortunately, as I said, was a defensive mistake. A lot of people, I guess, do own this double up at the current moment, so it might not be the biggest thing in the world. But still, it's pretty differential to have 2 Arsenal defenders. Not as differential though as the man in the middle, Charlie Taylor. I said this in the deadline stream and the team selections. I just had a feeling about Charlie Taylor, but I guess it is easier to have a feeling when you're playing rock bottom of the Premier League. But Burnley put up a good performance, winning 5-0, Taylor getting an assist and a clean sheet. So that 10 points was absolutely massive in a game week where the clean sheets were hard to come by. And who would have thought Burnley finally keeping one? So definitely our differential and almost our savior of the defensive department. Otherwise that defense would look pretty bad. Now heading into midfield department, a popular captaincy option this week in the top 10k was actually the highest effective ownership player, Mo Salah with 5 points. Now I guess at the end of the day, if you did see that Liverpool scored 4 goals, probably would have expected Mo Salah to be involved in more of them, but he could have if Darwin actually finished his chances. So if you guys didn't watch the fixture, I think on Twitter you would have seen that Darwin missed some very easy chances, and I think both of them were assisted by Mo Salah. But as a non-captain, I was just hoping for a blank in this one. 5 points wasn't the worst. But as mentioned, 4 goals for Liverpool, would have thought that Mo Salah would be involved in more of them. Then we got on to another savior of the game week. It was Heung-min Son. If you guys recall last week before game week 14, a lot of talk about should you sell Son, should you not? Without Maddison, how's that Spurs attack going to look? But all I said was that Spurs are quite a bogey team for Man City, and that's exactly what happened. So I know that Man City did miss a few easy chances. There was a controversial advantage call, but Heung-min Son scored 2 goals, an own goal and a real goal, and also assisted in this fixture. So once again, just showing how that counter-attack of Spurs can be so deadly. The XG wasn't even that high in this game, and Spurs scored 2 goals. So I guess you guys got your answer of should you sell Heung-min Son. Still a great option, but I guess he hasn't played Man City every game week. The next up is going to be a player that you might have sold Heung-min Son for. It was going to be Bukayo Saka, who racked up 8 points, and finally some good XG in that fixture. So against Wolves, Saka got us off the board with a lovely taken goal, and I think he got one bonus point if I do recall. So finally the attacking stats are looking better, we don't have to quote these terrible XG and XA numbers, and let's see if Saka can keep it up as he's been pretty consistent. Now the transfers in for this game week are going to come up next. The first one is going to be Mbeumo. I brought him in for Jarrod Bowen. Jarrod Bowen played the game, but actually missed the big chance in the 90th minute. So luckily with that, our transfers are going to be net gained. Mbeumo's 5 points over Bowen's 2, but I actually thought Mbeumo could have done better in this fixture. So that Luton at home game is pretty much the best game on paper, the side that's conceded the most XG per 90 minutes. So Mbeumo coming out with just an assist is pretty disappointing. This game week with that front three might have been a little bit out wide. Morpay had a better game, getting 1 XG, and overall finished the chances. But at the end of the day, 3 lovely fixtures still coming up for Mbeumo before that blanket game week 18. Then the next transfer in was going to be Cole Palmer. Now I did take Adingra out. He almost assisted a penalty at the end of that fixture, whereas Cole Palmer was actually benched. So if you guys didn't see, Cole Palmer picked up a knock in training, and that's why as a precaution he was rested for this game. But to make matters worse, Chelsea won a penalty, Enzo took it, and then Cole Palmer was subbed on a minute later. So what are the odds of that happening? Finally, as a Cole Palmer owner, the first game week of the season, I can celebrate those jammy Chelsea penalties. Chelsea actually get one, but Cole Palmer's sitting on the bench. So let's just hope that he hasn't lost penalties as a whole after Enzo scoring one, and overall Chelsea's attack looked pretty good. Now there is some slight concern though with that injury, with the kind of congested Christmas period. Will he be risked in these upcoming games? But after playing 30 minutes off the bench, I think he should be good to go. So overall, midfield department actually looked pretty good. If Cole Palmer took that penalty and converted it, would have looked a lot better. But overall, the tempo looks pretty strong. Now heading into our forward line, it was going to be Erling Haaland with these 7 points, doubled to 14. So at least we captained the better option between him and Mo Salah. Now what could have been, not only did he miss a massive big chance, almost was an open goal, but then as I mentioned, that controversial referee advantage call, where he could have assisted Jack Grealish if he converted that chance. So the points could have been that much bigger, and I think they actually should have. So as Erling Haaland captains might have got a little bit unlucky. But I guess these things happen in the footballing world, they happen in the FPL world, but Erling Haaland could have absolutely hauled. Now talking about those hauls, at least I kept hold of Ollie Watkins, the orange flagged striker for Aston Villa. That Bournemouth away game was too hard to ignore, and because there was no concrete news, we actually had some positive news before the deadline. I was perfectly fine keeping him for his 11-point appearance. So this was quite unlucky if you guys did take him to Darwin Núñez, especially after the fact that Darwin almost scored 2 big chances. But this Ollie Watkins haul was on the cards. So luckily kept hold of him, was a great game on paper, and Aston Villa's attack continues to impress. So the forward line was definitely the best department of this game week. Yes, Erling Haaland could have got more points, but the Ollie Watkins haul after being orange flagged, which is the cherry on top. Now did you guys keep hold of Ollie Watkins? Did you still get a green arrow if you sold him? Let me know in the comments down below how your game week went and where you're sitting in the overall ranks. Now before we head on to the actual transfer plan, I want to give you guys the team selection as I always do. I want to show you guys the context of what my current starting 11 looks like, and then we can talk about what transfers I'm looking to make. So in the back of your mind, just keep 1 transfer and 0.6 in the bank so a slight upgrade can be made, and comment down below what would the transfer be if this was your team. Now let's start off on our bench as we usually do, and this week we might have a little bit of a benching dilemma, especially with our defensive department. Gay is Bournemouth at home, but Taylor has Wolves away. So that Bournemouth at home game is tougher than it looks on paper. That Bournemouth attack has actually been super decent, and they seem to be scoring a lot of goals recently. Added to that, the Crystal Palace defense is sliding down over these past couple game weeks, and that's actually fine benching Gay. Then in terms of Taylor, yes, the heroics were there in game week 14, but I expect Burnley to regress to their normal. Against a better Premier League side, I can see them scoring, and that's why Taylor will be on my bench. Other than that, Archer and Strakosha will be going nowhere. Both have tougher games on paper. So our starting goalkeeper once again will be Areola against Spurs. Now do I have faith in a clean sheet? No ways, and I'm expecting Areola to actually concede a few here. So yes, the save points might be there, but this might be one of those game weeks where we can finally play someone else, and I'll talk about that in my transfer plan coming up shortly. Now defensive department will have the double up of those Arsenal centre-backs, Saliba and Gabriel against Luton away. I'm really hoping for another clean sheet like I saw in game week 13. Now Luton away is a tougher game than on paper. They've actually been attacking pretty well at home, but that Arsenal defense is the best in the Premier League. Lascelles also forms part of a pretty strong defense himself, I think the second or the third best defense in terms of expected clean sheets, and even though Everton have been attacking well, I think this might be a clean sheet. Lascelles also pretty cheap, and therefore I think has a better game than someone like a Gay or a Taylor. Then our midfield department, going to start off with our captain, Mo Salah. I just think Sheffield United away is the prime fixture. Yes, after sacking the manager, this might be a new manager bounce, but I don't really think that Sheffield United can improve that much overnight. So I think if you guys own Mo Salah, it's a no-brainer captain this week. Against the worst team in the Premier League, if you're not going to captain Mo Salah this week, when will you? And with those Liverpool attacking injuries, Mo Salah's nailed to start. But comment down below, are you guys captaining anyone else than Mo Salah? Yes, there might be other options, some of them in my own team, but I just believe he's the best captain this game week. One of those options might be Heung-min Son or even a Saka. West Ham at home and Luton away are pretty decent games, but I just believe Mo Salah is more consistent and the better FPL asset at the end of the day. But still, saying that, I'm very comfortable owning Son and Saka this week. I believe the hauls could be on the cards, and fingers crossed we just get massive points. There are two transfers in from last week in Mbeumo and Palmer. In Mbeumo's Brighton away, just conceded 3 goals to Chelsea. They're conceding goals for fun at the moment. Let's see if Mbeumo can improve that tally. Then Cole Palmer has United, another team that's struggling at the current moment. I'm just hoping that he actually starts this game, but I believe after that 30 minutes off the bench, he should have been cleared of that precaution. So the midfield department does look better. I think it goes from left to right. The first 3 look outstanding. Mbeumo and Palmer also look good. Let's hope it's another big game week for our midfield. Then our forwards are actually playing each other this week. It's Haaland and Ollie Watkins. Aston Villa will be hosting this game, and without Rodri, I actually think they can do well. Now, one thing to watch out for is going to be Erling Haaland. He might actually be charged by the FA after those comments after the game, but I believe that charge might only come before game week 16. Just something to keep your eyes on though. Let's just see what the news says over the next few days. As if Erling Haaland's going to miss a few game weeks, he already blanks in game week 18, he might be a sell. Now, the reason I'm not looking to captain Erling Haaland is the fact that we do have that Rodri suspension. I just believe Man City are a worse team when he doesn't play, and therefore I'd rather go for someone like a Mo Salah. But as mentioned, a lot of Camsey options this week. I think Salah, Son, Saka, and even Haaland are good options. I just prefer the Egyptian. Now, what I want you guys to do is comment down below if this was your team, what changes would you guys make? Yes, you could also bank a transfer if you want to do that, but I think I might actually make a move for game week 15. So let's go on to that transfer plan for the upcoming game week 15. As always, I could bank a transfer. Nothing much in the team screams like a transfer out, and therefore the sensible move might actually be to keep one for next game week. Now, I've also mentioned the Erling Haaland news, so just watch out for that. If he is charged and is going to miss 2 games, 3 games, that sort of thing, we could look to take a 2 or 3 week punt. But on paper, the move that I'm actually looking to make is going to be a defensive or goalkeeper one, and it's going to be for Dubravka. So we have news this week that Nick Pope might be out for 5 to 6 months. If you guys do recall on the weekend, he had a shoulder dislocation, and it seems like he's had one before. So with that injury, I think the minimum time is going to be 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, might be more respectable. And therefore, if Dubravka can win that spot as predicted, he's going to be an absolute steal. Now, one thing to point out is that Newcastle can always sign a new goalkeeper, either on loan or a new signing, as the January window is soon going to be approaching. So De Gea was rumored to be one of those options on the transfer list, but I actually think that Dubravka is going to win that spot, and I think they're actually just going to stick with him. So if you guys are a Newcastle fan, comment down below what your insight is. I see a lot of fans over on Twitter saying the same thing. Dubravka is a quality keeper, and De Gea might be too expensive. So the reason why we're actually looking at Dubravka is he does come in at 3.9 million, so super cheap, and the player I look to take out is actually be Strakosha. So Newcastle has some great fixtures coming up, Everton and Fulham in the next 3, and because Strakosha doesn't play, I'll also be keeping Areola. I'm actually going to jump to the next slide because I want to show why I'm actually taking out Strakosha and not Areola. Yes, I know Areola is not a great goalkeeper, West Ham's not a great defense, but he actually rotates with Strakosha quite nicely. So on screen right now, you guys are going to see the next 8 game weeks. Now obviously if Nick Pope is out for 5 to 6 months, this will only extend further, but I just want to showcase for the medium term what the fixtures are looking like. So on the left hand side will be Areola's fixtures, and on the right hand side will be Dubravka's, and the green is going to be when you guys will play them. So you guys can see for the upcoming game, Everton away, you guys will play Dubravka for game week 15. You'll then change back to Areola for game week 16, when Newcastle do a Spurs away. Then in game week 17, you guys can play either Wolves or Fulham. I definitely will probably play Dubravka though, and you'll stay in net for the next 2 game weeks. Then when Newcastle have that tough run of Liverpool, Man City and Aston Villa, you can therefore play Areola. He has Brighton, Sheffield United and Bournemouth. So you guys can see they almost rotate perfectly. So let me know what you guys think about this keeper rotation. I know on paper, you probably want to start Dubravka most game weeks, as Newcastle is a better defense than West Ham. Also, let me know what you guys think about the actual transfer plan. Strakosha out for Dubravka. This might be one of those luxury moves, and because I only have 1 free transfer, I might actually postpone this for future game week. Also, let me know what your thoughts are on the whole kind of loan or signing situation. I just believe Dubravka is a great backup, and I think they might trust the rest of their goalkeepers. If there's another transfer plan that you guys think is better, another move that you guys might have seen, drop it in the comments down below and I'll take a look at it. If you guys have any concerns about your own transfer plans, also drop those dilemmas in the comments down below or my Discord server where I'm slightly more active. But this is basically going to wrap up the video, guys. Hope you guys did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like it and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Team selection coming out tomorrow before that Tuesday night deadline. Please make sure that you guys have a reminder. But for the time being, I'm signing off. It's been Dayvy FPL and I'm out. Cheers, bye.